The psychological self. This question of the ego, of what I am, of that which thinks, feels and acts, is something that we must explore within ourselves in order that we gain profound knowledge. Everywhere there are lovely theories which attract and fascinate. However, they are of no use at all if we don't know ourselves. It is fascinating to study astronomy or to distract ourselves somewhat reading a serious book. It is, however, ironic to become erudite and not know anything about the ego, about what I am, about the human personality we possess. Everyone is very free to think whatever they please, and the subjective reasoning of the intellectual animal ambiguously called man fixes anything. Just as it can make a mountain out of a molehill, it can make a molehill of a mountain. There are many intellectuals who play with rationalism. Nevertheless, what does it matter? To be learned does not signify wisdom. Learned ignoramuses abound like weeds. Not only do they not know, but they are not even aware they don't know. Let's understand that by learned ignoramuses we mean the know-ales who believe they know everything and who don't even know themselves. It would be possible to theorize splendidly on the psychological self, however, that isn't precisely what interests us in this chapter. We need to know ourselves directly without the depressing process of an option. This is definitely impossible without observing ourselves in action from instant to instant, from the moment to moment. It is not the case that we see ourselves through theories or simple intellectual speculation. To see ourselves directly as we are is interesting. Only in this way do we reach the true knowledge of ourselves. Although it seems incredible, we are mistaken with regard to ourselves. Many things which we believe we have, we do not have, and many which we do not believe we have, we actually have. We have formed false concepts about ourselves, and we must, therefore, make an inventory to measure what we have in surplus and what we lack. You are listening to the topic The Psychological Self. Book, The Great Rebellion. From Samila Unweir. Visit us at www.facebook.com/gnosiswisdom. We suppose ourselves to have these or those qualities which in reality we do not, and we are ignorant of many of the virtues we certainly do possess. We are dormant people, unconscious, and that is very serious. Unfortunately, we think the best of ourselves and never suspect that we are asleep. The Holy Scriptures insist on the necessity of awakening, but do not explain the system to achieve this awakening. Worst of all, there are many who have read the Holy Scriptures and even then don't understand that they are asleep. Everyone believes that they know themselves and don't remotely suspect the existence of the doctrine of the many selves. In reality, the psychological self of each person is multiple. It always consists of many. By this, we mean that we have many selves and not only one, as is always supposed by learned ignoramuses. By denying the doctrine of the many selves we make fools of ourselves. In fact, it is the height of absurdity to ignore the intimate contradictions which each of us possesses. I am going to read a newspaper, says the ego of intellect. To hell with reading, exclaims the ego of movement, I prefer to ride my bicycle. Forget it, shouts a third in disagreement, I'd rather eat, I'm hungry. If we could see ourselves full length in a mirror, the way we actually are, we would discover for ourselves directly the doctrine of the many selves. The human personality is only a marionette controlled by invisible strings. The ego which swears eternal love for Gnosis is later replaced by another who has nothing to do with the pledge, then the individual leaves Gnosis. The ego which swears eternal love for one woman is later replaced by another one which has nothing to do with the oath. Then the person falls in love with another woman and like a house of cards, it all collapses. The intellectual animal mistakenly called the man is like a house filled with many people. No order or agreement exists amongst the multiple egos, they all quarrel with each other and fight for supremacy. When one of them gains control of the capital centers of the organic machine, it feels unique, a master. However, ultimately it is overthrown. Considering the matter from this point of view, we come to the logical conclusion that the intellectual mammal does not have a true sense of moral responsibility. Undoubtedly, whatever the machine says or does at a given moment, depends exclusively on the type of ego in control at that instant. It is said that Jesus of Nazareth drove out 7 demons, 7 egos, from the body of Mary Magdalene, living personifications of the 7 deadly sins. It is obvious that each of these 7 demons is at the head of a legion. Hence, we can establish as the natural consequence that the intimate Christ was able to expel thousands of egos from the body of Mary Magdalene. Reflecting upon all this, we can clearly infer the only integrity we possess within us is the essence, which tragically finds itself trapped within the multiple egos of revolutionary psychology. It is regrettable that the essence is always limited in its processes by virtue of its imprisonment. Without question, The essence or consciousness which are the same, sleep profoundly. You are listening to the topic The Psychological Self. Book, The Great Rebellion. From Samila Unweir. Just remember that if you do not want to make a change from your condition, nobody will make it for you.